Welcome to today's episode of She Read It. In today's episode of Bridezillas, we focus on two stories. The first one is about a bride against her groom and well-named groom princess, and the second one is about a bride and how she broke up a 20-year-old friendship over makeup. Who does that? But anyway, stay tuned for this and more. So, first story, Bridezilla versus Groom Princess. My husband called me a bridezilla during our reception in front of all our guests. Let me explain. In this lengthy post, my husband and I weren't exactly two peas in a pod, but we had a lot of fun together. Our one only big disagreement was our spending habits. I am a simple girl with simple needs. He is not. But since he was absolutely the main moneymaker, I didn't complain much about it. I did, however, insist on a budget for the wedding, and he agreed. I also asked if travel expenses for my parents could be included in the budget, and he said yes. Side note, I am American and my husband is British. My parents, who are on the lower end of middle class, say that they would either help with the wedding or attend but couldn't afford both. When they found out about us covering the plane tickets, they were so happy that they insisted on at least paying for my wedding dress, knowing that I was a simple girl anyways. Everything was going well up until 1 month before the wedding, when I found out that the location had been changed without telling me. In England, it is not uncommon to invite more folks to the reception than the actual wedding due to the small churches, so I thought more attention should be given to the dinner than the ceremony. My husband thought differently. He not only changed the location, but went ahead and picked out all the decorations without me, something that came with the location due to their strict rules, claiming that he didn't think it was a big deal. I have never had a dream wedding planned, so I didn't argue. I only asked to at least be included in the future. That ended up falling on deaf ears. Knowing that the wedding venue was much more than we originally agreed on, I volunteered to cancel my night at the hotel on the wedding evening and morning at the spa on the day off to save money. 2 days before the wedding, I found out he didn't cancel it and planned to use it himself. The reception was being held at a pub near our home, but couldn't be decorated until the day off. I thought my husband would be the one to go down and supervise it, but since he was going to be at the spa, that was left up to me. My maid of honor was his best friend's girlfriend, who I had only known for a few months. When I asked if she could help me with this task, she told me that she and the boyfriend would be at the hotel with my husband on our dime. I then asked if we had any money to spare for a last-minute wedding planner to at least help with that. My husband said we didn't have a dime left, and in fact, he was asking our guests to pay for their own food. I was mortified, but since these were all his friends and family, I couldn't really say much. My father got sick at the last minute and didn't think he could make it through the flight, so I just had my mom there. The morning of the wedding, my mom volunteered to go down to the pub to make sure everything was going well and that they had everything they needed. Something that should have taken less than an hour ended up taking 3 hours. Come to find out, the pub had no idea that they were responsible for decorating the hall for us, so my mom did as best as she could. By the time she had gotten back, I had already had my hair and makeup completed and halfway in my dress, so we missed our mother-daughter moment of me getting ready. Other than that, everything else went to plan. We said our vows, got some beautiful photos of the church, and then made our way to the reception. In the car on the way to the reception, my husband decided to tell me his disappointment in wasting money on my father's plane ticket, which was unrefundable. I lost my cool. We then spent the entire trip to our reception arguing over what was or wasn't necessary for a wedding. By the time we got to the pub, my face was bright red, and I told him I needed a moment before I could go in. He went ahead and jumped out of the car without me. By the time I was able to compose myself, my mother came out of the car to check on me, and I ended up walking in with her. I pretty much stayed at the bar for the rest of the evening with the exception of the actual dinner, looking at my new husband, wondering to myself what I had actually gotten myself into while chugging pint after pint. When I was finally drunk enough to get over my disappointments, I decided to try and save the evening by asking my husband to dance. He refused, telling me that this pub wasn't that kind of place. I then excused myself and went to the bathroom to cry. My bridesmaids came to check up on me, the first and last thing she did for me on my day. She then thought I would like to know that my husband was telling everybody I was being a bridezilla. Well, two can play at this game. I then spent the rest of the night calling him either my wife or the pretty princess. This, of course, made all his friends uncomfortable, and the party ended sooner than planned. Our honeymoon was to be just a one-night stay at a local hotel and a bigger trip planned for the following summer. Since we weren't the happily married couple, I told him that I would stay with my mother and he could go to the hotel, since I was not his biggest fan. It was at this moment that I was informed of the 4-day stay at a golf resort he had as a surprise. Yes, a surprise honeymoon is so sweet and lovely, except neither of us golfed. Needless to say, our marriage is not great, and we ended up calling it quits after he got his girlfriend pregnant. But I'll save that for another post. But hey, at least my mother got to see London. Okay, I'll review some of the posts and comments from other people here. So one of the comments with the highest number of upvotes says, "I'm not kidding when I say my jaw dropped at the beginning and my mouth was agape through this whole thing. What an a-hole." On the other hand, one of OP's comments was, "I'll try to give you the short version." This is after someone said she can't go like that without spilling the Earl Grey tea. "I'll try to give you the short version. Obviously, we didn't last long together and I requested to go back to the States. After I returned, he convinced me that I was only miserable because I was lonely without my family and friends from home, and we should try again with him coming back to the States. It took him 6 months to talk me into trying again, another 6 months to get his visa. Within 2 months of him being here, I had 2 different friends tell me that he tried to kiss them while he was drunk. I then noticed many calls to the same number at all hours of the day. When I confronted him, he didn't deny it, so I moved into the guest bedroom. When I finally decided to move out, he told me it was good timing because his girlfriend was pregnant. By this time, I had no love for him at all and just left. We were renting a house and had our own vehicles, so there was nothing to fight over. I just took everything I brought into the relationship and left the rest for him. I was told many times that I could have taken him for everything, but that would have just drawn everything longer, and I was done." Honestly, my opinion, as she read it, is I understand OP 100%. I would have just walked out the door because what the heck? This man was rude. She saw all the red flags from the beginning and just continued to drag this thing on and on and on. But at the same time, you come to understand that sometimes it's not a thing of how you feel, but about how you think of how the world will view you when you walk out of your marriage, especially when you're newlywed. But I'm guessing it was much easier for her because she had only been married for 2 minutes up in here before she saw it. And sometimes we have hope for dead things. It's good she realized it before she was tied down by kids and such. Yeah, so don't forget to give me your comments, ideas, anything you think about OP's situation down in the comment section below. I'll appreciate it. Our second story is titled "Ending a 20+ year friendship over makeup" by Not Your Average Olives. My friend, let's call her C, of over 20 years is getting married in the fall. I live in New Jersey, she lives in Georgia, with the rest is a bridal party, and she's having the wedding in Tennessee. Since I'm the only one who doesn't live in Georgia, I recognize I will inevitably have to miss out on some wedding festivities, especially because I'm in the middle of writing my master's thesis. However, I ended up feeling completely disposable by the end. For instance, C distributed the Will You Be My Bridesmaid's gift months before I received mine in the mail. After she asked for my address 3 separate times, but I agreed anyway. I couldn't say no. The first major incident was the bridal shower. Apparently, the bride's family or friends planned this, but C wanted to plan her own and have the bridal party pay for it. One day I'm in a meeting and C calls me. I can't answer, so I call her back later. She tells me she got together with the bridal party and they all agreed on the shower details. C tells me the shower will be in Georgia at a fancy restaurant and that each bridesmaid will be responsible for paying $600 for the shower. For context, the bridal party ranges in ages from 18 to 30, so money is a concern. C informs me that she needs to have an open bar, invite every woman from the wedding, and it must be at this restaurant. I tell her that's outrageous, and we get into an argument. After days of not speaking, she tells me she wants the shower to be really special, and that this will be the main expense, and that everything else will be really cheap because of this. Reluctantly, I tell her, okay, cough up the money. Then came the bachelorette party. C told me she wants to have the party in South Carolina, meaning everyone would have to pay for airfare, traveling, lodging, etc. I was surprised because I thought the shower was the main expense, which hasn't even happened at this point. After these expenses, plus dress, travel, and lodging to the wedding itself, I'd be out close to $3,000. Her mother also recommended to my mother that she book one of the most expensive Airbnbs near the venue. My mother, financially stable and naive to the other drama, books it. I am gritting my teeth at this point and I keep asking my mother for money to help pay for this. Then, the final straw was when C asked the bridal party if we'd be doing our own makeup or hiring a professional. Because this is a destination wedding in Tennessee and on a remote mountaintop with minimal cell service, hiring a makeup artist would cost upwards of $500. Because I was writing my thesis, I wasn't aware of this conversation yet happening in the group chat. C and her cousin were ganging up on another bridesmaid, Bonnie, who said the $500 was just too much and she can do her own makeup. Since C asked, C does not like this. C accuses Bonnie of being a naysayer and a bad friend. She tells Bonnie to open up a credit card. Another bridesmaid took out a loan. She was perfectly fine with her friends going into debt over her wedding. The kicker is that C's cousin is a professional makeup artist, but the cousin refuses the work because she is doing C's makeup as a wedding gift already and doesn't want to work for free. For context, she's the 18-year-old. I see all of this going down over text and I say this is unfair bullshit and that she needs to remember we are her friends. No one else was defending Bonnie. I assert that I'll be doing my own makeup as well and C says this isn't an option because she wants us to look the same. Now she's coming after what we look like, our own identity. Wouldn't she want her best friends there even if we were in paper bags? Bonnie and I noted that we were the only queer people in the bridal party, which seems suspicious when it comes to hetero beauty standards and aesthetics, but perhaps it was coincidental. Furious, I stopped responding because I cannot focus on this anymore. Then C sends me and Bonnie a simple text that reads, I think because of what happened, things will be awkward at the wedding and that you both are no longer invited. This will not affect our friendship outside of the wedding. Oh, it won't? I don't even respond because I don't want to go to the wedding anymore. Bonnie and I hear from acquaintances who now know all of our personal and financial information because C is telling everyone she knows. I don't give in, but instead, Venmo requests C for all of my money back. She declines my request, informing me that I made a commitment to her when I agreed to be a bridesmaid, which I no longer am. I said it's not just my money, but my mother's money, and that I hate her for this. Time passes, and I finally am able to relax and stop thinking about this for a while. Then, my mother calls me on a Sunday morning, informing me that C showed up house sobbing, apologizing about the money. My mother doesn't know all the details of this point, so she said something of, "Oh, don't worry about the money. What's the matter?" Obviously wanting to console C, whom my mother has known all her life. C tells her that she can't picture her wedding without me. This infuriates me. Because not only is she manipulating friends and acquaintances, but now she's manipulating my own mother? Bonnie tells me she has been getting anonymous phone calls, and on the other line is a drunken C shouting profanities, belittling Bonnie. We had no choice but to block her. I never went to the wedding, my mother never got the money back, and I never made amends with C. She never apologized for any of her actions, and I feel somewhat gaslit by the people she contacted in order to have an upper hand over me. It's been months, and she now has a child, and we have not spoken since she uninvited me. Wow, this was a lot to take in. I think it needs me to take a breather because what the heck? This is one of those stories that you hear and think, can't get worse than that? But can it? Seriously, you can say it can. It really, really can get worse. And one of the biggest comments here, or the most upvoted comment here, goes, "Your friend takes home the Bridezillas of the Year award." Some people need to understand that they are doing a favor only to their own selves while getting married, not to the world. Brides are allowed to pretend that they are the center of the world, but can't expect others to treat them the same just because they're getting married. Their bridesmaids or their families or their guests don't owe them a thing for getting married. Such brides, in their quests to have a perfect wedding, become the worst version of themselves. I'm sorry this happened to you, OP. Your friend shouldn't expect her bridesmaids to get bankrupt so that she can have her dream wedding. I totally agree with that. I feel like some bridezillas like this are so entitled. They feel like the world revolves around them, and everyone should bow down and accept that they are queens of the universe at that point, which I guess they could be on their day, but you don't expect me to fuck up thousands of dollars just because you're getting married. That's the look of the look. I didn't do that. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any comments, questions about the situation with you, do you have any advice for her? What would you do if you were in this situation? Kindly comment. Don't forget to like, share,